I'm obsessed with Everything Everywhere All at Once.
What's happening?
The directors, the Daniels, did this little behind the scenes video where they talked about painting out lights.
We added some lights here. Boop, boop, boop. Larkin loves this trick.
And we just knew, oh, it's already a visual effects shot, we'll remove those lights.
Right.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I promise you it's not that hard. It just takes a little bit of pre-planning, and you can do it on an indie budget, and we want to show you today how to do it. We're painting out lights. Let's go.
What is up everyone, my name is Steven and I'm one of the video editors for Aputure. Now before we move on, you need to know one of the biggest things about this video, and that is the use of plates.
Not these plates. In the visual effects world, a plate is shot as the background of your scene without any subjects in it, but has the same composition and lighting as your final shot. The final shot includes the subject, so when both shots are blended together in post, you're given the freedom to mask and change whatever your heart desires, thus saving time and money.
Now that you know what plates are, let's head back to set.
Step one, we have to set the camera. We are setting the camera not for our plate, we are setting the camera for our actual shot. Because one thing that could happen is, first you set the camera up for your background plate, everything looks wonderful, then you get your actor in there and they're too tall, right? Or they're too short. The most important thing is that you don't move the camera. The whole point of this is that it is on a tripod, you shoot the shot, and then you don't move the camera and you shoot the background plate. If you move the camera even an inch, even a centimeter, it's just not gonna work. Even like bumping it like this, it's over. It's over for us. Then I'm gonna observe the frame and see if there's anything in there that needs to be moved, because of course we can't move it after the fact. So even if it's just a couple of things in every cubby, or like one or two things, that's fine. Now the tricky thing though, we also have to rack focus on the plate at the same rate.
And what can help you out here is shooting at a narrower aperture so that when you're racking focus, it doesn't play too much of an effect on the actual shot.
The best thing is to figure out everything that you need right away. And I also want to figure out what light are we using to replace that candle light. Our only light source in the whole scene is coming from this one match. When you're dealing with practical lights, a lot of times you can't control the exposure. So something like a match is only ever gonna be as bright as the match can be. So when I turn it on, it barely registers face, let alone the background or an environment. You not only need a secondary light, you need something portable so that your operator can walk around with it. So we're gonna fake it with a 60X, and even though it has a fire setting, I want it to be just a little bit warmer. They're just gonna wrap the entire lantern with some CT straw grid on it and a little bit of a skirt that's gonna take it off of the back. The ideal is there's nothing behind the light that is lit. Let's speed. 3, 2, 1, strike. And cut. That was perfect. That was great. That was great, y'all. Cut. So obviously, if we were to just get a plate with no lights on, we would have no data. So instead, I decided to have a little bit of ambient light in the scene. Right now, we have the light off to the side. And what's happening is it's casting shadows on the inside of this bookshelf. This is a very textured background, which is great to have, but the problem is it's directional, and it's obviously directional. So we placed the light head on so that there were no shadows. It's basically just to have some sort of texture in the background so it's not completely blacked out. And when you put it together, it should all work. Hopefully.
Now the moment of truth, let's open After Effects.
Alright, so here we have our two media files, the final shot and the plate shot. We're gonna first drag our final shot to the timeline, scrub to where we first see the match. Once you find it, we're gonna drag our plate shot and put it on top of the final shot. Now the screen looks empty, but not for long because we're gonna create our mask on the plate shot. And as he moves, adjust the mask path according to his movements until he's on the other side. While we're doing this, make sure the fake light is invisible on screen. Finally, add your color grading, final touches, and voila! If done right, you have successfully painted out your lights.
right, moving on to our second look. This is another way that you can paint out light. So instead of having like a secondary light source, what if you created it from scratch? I shoot in downtown LA a lot on the 20th floor of a building. We can't place lights and stands outside. It's nighttime, what do we do? I do this trick a lot with monitors and TVs that are like old school, that don't work anymore, that don't turn on, but they need to display some sort of image. So if you have some sort of screen and it's not on, like say my phone's dead, for example, it's not gonna be able to cast light onto my fingers and onto the surrounding environment, onto my face. So a lot of times I'll just tape the lights onto the monitor, mask the entire screen of the monitor out, and replace it with whatever I want that monitor to show. So in this case, we need some sort of very low profile but wide light source because this window is visible in the frame. So we have these mats here. These are the flexible light mats. You can just really easily tape them to the windows and turn them on. You can use any type of light that's going to give you the quality that you need. But the problem is that they're all going to need some sort of stands. So you're gonna be limited in, for example, we wouldn't be able to put this chair here, right? Because a stand would need to be here. The more I can do practically, the better. So as for the camera in this particular shot, we wanna keep it low because he's on the ground. And I also wanna keep it low and angled up so that we see the windows. We're actually shooting 2 plates for this. The first plate is for this side wall. I wanted to have this scene not be so silhouette-y, so I wanted to have a little bit of a bounce. But the thing with a bounce is if I do it from over here, it also bounces onto these cards. And say I didn't want to do that, say I just wanted to do his face and not the cards at all, I can bring it even closer. And the great thing about it is, even though this is in the shot, we just shoot a plate and then we just paint it out. The second plate is for the background. We have taken off all 3 of those lights off the window, so it's nice and clean. Like before, if I turn all the lights off to shoot the plate, then I'll just have no data to work with. I have this 600D that I'm gonna just aim directly at the window. We want all of the details. So all of the lovely details in this chain, in all of these window panels, we want as much of that as possible. There's a lot of ways that you can do this, but having that clean plate is super important. And of course, not moving the camera. I didn't move the camera. Did you move the camera? I didn't move the camera. No one's moving the camera. All right, this looks good. Let's go for a take. Okay, I think that's a wrap. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Vee, that looked really good.
That was easy.
Yeah.
We're like an hour ahead of schedule. I'm chilling. Anything where your camera is locked off, don't feel constrained by your location. Bring the lights up close. Bring them up close. You can always paint them out.
Exactly. And so we have a common question for you today. If the entire shoot takes place during the day on private property with permission from the owner, do you really need a permit?
A lot of times the permit is necessary based on whether it's a union show or not, based on whether or not you have minors, based on a lot of different things.
Get a permit.
Yeah, or pay the consequences.
Hope you guys learned a lot, and we'll see you next time.
We out of here. Keep shooting. The whole point of this scene is that we see the windows, but they're not real.
You know what else is not real? This house of cards.
The House of Cards.